Imagine this, you put away just $1,000 a month, not lottery money, not startup millions, just the cost of a used Honda payment. And after 10 years, you're done, retired, free. It sounds impossible, right? Because every financial expert says you need decades of outgoing, but the math, the psychology, and the strategy behind it tell a very different story. So today, we're going to answer the question, can you really retire in 10 years by investing just $1,000 a month? My name is Ivan, and I help people understand how to build wealth without needing a trust fund or a crystal ball to predict the stock market. If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck and ready to actually take control of your financial future, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button if this information helps you out. Because the next 10 years are going to pass whether you invest or not. And when that time is gone, you'll either look back with freedom or with regret. Most people spend their entire lives working jobs they don't love, waiting for retirement at 65, only to realize they traded the best years of their life for a paycheck. But if you can flip the script, if you can build a system that works for you instead of against you, those same 10 years could unlock choices most people never get. This isn't just about money. It's about control over your time, your energy, and your future. And that's why this matters. Here's the raw truth. If you invest $1,000 a month for 10 years, that's $120,000 out of pocket. No tricks, no magic, just consistent deposits. Now, if you put that into a broad stock market index fund earning a historical average of around 7% a year, you won't have millions. You'll have about $170,000. And this is where most people get disappointed. They hear retire in 10 years and expect yachts, private jets, and sipping margaritas on the beach, but the math doesn't lie. $170,000 won't let you retire in the traditional sense, but here's the important part. It gives you something far more powerful. It gives you escape velocity. Because once you've built a six-figure portfolio, your money starts compounding faster than your own contributions. The snowball finally rolls on its own. You're no longer starting from zero, paycheck to paycheck. You've built a machine that works while you sleep. Don't get caught up in the fantasy of millions. Your real goal in 10 years isn't never work again. It's reaching the point where your money earns more in a year than you could ever save on your own. That's the first step toward freedom. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't fail at investing because of the stock market. They fail because of themselves. In fact, studies show the average investor only holds onto their investments for about 3 or 4 years before selling. Think about that. 3 years into a 10-year plan, most people have already quit. Not because the strategy stopped working, but because their emotions did. Take 2008 as an example. The market fell over 50%. Panic selling was everywhere, and the people who sold at the bottom locked in a decade of losses. But the people who held, or even kept buying, doubled, tripled, and quadrupled their wealth in the recovery that followed. Or think about March 2020. Stocks fell 30% in just weeks. Headlines screamed about collapse. Millions of investors pulled out in fear. Yet just months later, the market had fully recovered, and those who stayed invested saw some of the fastest gains in history. That's the psychology trap. When things are calm, everyone swears they'll stay disciplined. But the moment fear kicks in, emotions hijack the plan. And if you sell during every downturn, you'll never see the compounding that actually makes you wealthy. This is why consistency matters more than timing. The difference between the investor who panicked in 2020 and the one who automated their contributions was enormous. The first lost out, the second gained thousands without lifting a finger. So the psychology shift you need to make is this. Stop thinking of yourself as someone trying to invest. Become the kind of person who invests automatically, no matter what's happening in the world. Set up the transfer, let it happen in the background, and ignore the noise. Because the truth is, the market will always crash. Headlines will always scream, but the investors who win aren't the ones who predict the storm. They're the ones who build a system that sails through it. When most people hear the word retirement, they picture the old model. Work 40 years, save a little along the way, and at 65, you finally get to stop. But let's be honest, that's not retirement, that's survival. You traded your best decades for a paycheck, and by the time you're free, most of your time is already gone. The problem is that people think retirement has to be all or nothing. Either you're working full-time or you're sipping drinks on a beach forever, but that's not reality. The real breakthrough comes when you realize that retirement can happen in stages. Even buying back a small portion of your time can completely transform your life. Let's run the numbers. If you invest $1,000 a month for 10 years, you end up with around $170,000. Invested in dividend-paying stocks or funds that might generate $7,000 to $8,000 a year in passive income. Is that enough to quit forever? No. But imagine combining that with a freelance gig, a side hustle, or even a part-time job. Suddenly, you're covering half your expenses without needing a 9 to 5. Think about the psychological difference. With no investments, you're stuck. Your boss controls your rent money, your grocery money, your future. But with even $8,000 of passive income, you have leverage. You can say no to the worst jobs. You can quit the toxic workplace. You can take 6 months off to build something of your own. That's not retirement in the traditional sense, but it is freedom. Here's a simple story. 2 people both hate their jobs. One has 0 investment, so they keep grinding because they have no choice. The other has 10 years of steady investing under their belt. They don't have millions, but they do have a cushion, enough to walk away and take a risk. Same age, same world, 2 very different lives. That's the escape from the job trap. It's not about waiting 40 years to live. It's about buying freedom in pieces and using those pieces to design a life that actually belongs to you. Here's the part most people ignore. Everyone obsesses over cutting costs, skipping coffee, eating out less, clipping coupons. But the real accelerator isn't saving $2, it's raising your income ceiling, because $1,000 a month is just the starting line. If you can push that to $2,000 or even $3,000, the math changes completely. At a 7% return, $3,000 a month over 10 years grows to more than $500,000. That's not escape velocity, that's orbit. This is why skill growth, career moves, or building a side hustle matter so much more than penny pinching. Your ability to increase what you earn directly determines how fast you can buy freedom. So instead of asking, how do I cut back? The better question is, how do I make more? Because every extra dollar you can invest becomes fuel. And over 10 years, it's the difference between surviving and actually retiring early. So how do you actually make this work? The roadmap isn't complicated, but most people fail because they skip steps or let emotions derail them. Think of it like building a house. If you try to put the roof on before laying the foundation, the whole thing collapses. The first step is your safety net. Before you even think about investing, stack up 3 to 6 months of living expenses in cash. This is your shock absorber. It's what keeps you from selling your investments the moment life throws you a curveball. A medical bill, a car repair, or a layoff. Without this cushion, you'll panic sell and destroy years of progress. With it, you can weather the storm and stay invested. The second step is automation. Don't trust willpower. Don't wait until the end of the month to see what's left. If $1,000 leaves your account the moment your paycheck arrives, you've already won the hardest battle. You've paid your future self first. Everything else, bills, groceries, entertainment, gets managed with what's left. The third step is reinvesting. Every dividend, every bit of interest, every extra windfall, don't spend it. Let it compound. Because the moment you start pulling money out too soon, the snowball shrinks. But if you let it roll, the growth curve gets steeper every year. The fourth step is raising your income ceiling. $1,000 a month is the starting line, not the finish line. Maybe you get a promotion, pick up freelance work, or build a side hustle. Every extra dollar you funnel into the plan accelerates the timeline. This is where people underestimate themselves. Small career moves can add hundreds of thousands of dollars to your decade plan. And finally, the fifth step is redefining retirement itself. Don't think of it as never working again. Think of it as buying back your time, piece by piece. Maybe that means working part-time, consulting on your own terms, or simply having the freedom to say no. That's the real payoff. 10 years from now, you won't just have money, you'll have options. 10 years might feel like a long time, but here's the thing. Those 10 years are going to pass whether you invest or not. And when they do, you'll either have a machine working for you or nothing to show but old paychecks and wasted time. No, $1,000 a month won't buy you yachts or mansions in a decade, but it can buy something far more valuable. Freedom. The freedom to say no to work you hate. The freedom to take risks. The freedom to live on your own terms. So the real question isn't, can you retire in 10 years? The real question is, 10 years from now, will you still be stuck at the same desk, or will you have built the life you actually want?